What's going on, people out there on the internet? The nerds of the nerds, maybe the real marketing masters out there that are looking for the ultimate tool to supercharge your sales for yourself or for your clients. Welcome to the first ever episode of the ChatBot Podcast. I'm Ryan Baggett, your host and creator of TabTheTable.io, the ultimate marketing platform for restaurants. Today is a super special day because I've got a very special guest that I'll bring on here in a second. This is actually only the second time I've ever done a real live streaming project. And I'm super excited for this. We'll be talking about everything that has to do with chatbots in the chatbot industry and message marketing. And we'll also be looking at the latest trends that we can identify in real life use across the internet. So without further ado, I'm happy to introduce our very first guest on our first recorded episode, live episode of the ChatBot Podcast, Adjunga. Call him AJ, my man. Let's bring him on. AJ, what's going on, man?
Hey everybody, I'm excited to be the first guest on your podcast. What an honor.
Number one. And AJ, you and I go back all the way from the beginning of the year. It's September, but I think, what was it, maybe around December or January when we really started like chatting it up, right?
Exactly. And I remember the first contact, you just throw so many ideas at me. You get my mind spinning so nicely. It was really like I was really thinking, wow, this dude is really on fire. It's really interesting. And ever since then, we worked together on little projects here and there. And it's always inspiring. I really love your stuff, your energy you put in, and actually also your solution you just brought up. Like really nice tool to get like restaurants in really like very easily, like really like without that much work. So that's always to the point.
Totally, man. I really appreciate that. And, I think that the guys like you and I that were doing this in a big way before the health crisis happened, right? I think we're the OGs at this point, right? We're the ones that have kind of been around and stood the test of time and actually been successful. And you've been majorly successful yourself. This guy, ladies and gentlemen, and robot friends out there, whoever is watching, this guy has solved a countless amount of problems for me, especially earlier in the year. Man, if I had a problem, this was the guy that I would go to and had no problem paying that price. And he ain't cheap, ladies and gentlemen, but you're going to get 1,000 times what you put in. I can attest that whatever this guy charges you, and it's like, he feels bad for doing so. Whatever you charge, you're going to get 1,000 times back your investment. If not financially, you will with education for sure. It'll set you on the right path to success. But for those that don't know, okay, and shout out to Stephanie Liu. She is, I don't know if everyone knows this. I sure do. She's the queen of live video marketing right now, I think. She put me on this streaming platform we're using today. It's called Restream, and I really like it so far. I only made like 14,000 mistakes the first couple days, like I do with everything, like 15,000 mistakes, and then I get decent at it. So let's see if I can change up the little stream down here. So here's your welcome card that I should have had up for a while, AJ. But I'm going to go ahead and ask you my first question. And I think this is important because we're going to have a lot of people, at least for a while, that have no idea what a chatbot is. So from the creator of Resto Chat himself, one of the co-creators, tell me, please, what, in your opinion, is the most concise way you can define what a chatbot is?
Sure, no problem. Thank you for that question. So a chatbot is basically an automation that interacts with a human, like as if there's another human on the other side. So that's basically, and it's going with text, like chat. So that makes it like a very like conversational interaction. It's not like press 1 like on the telephone like 20 years ago. Press this, press 2 to get this, press 2 to get this, press 3 to get this. No, it's like, hey, do you have tacos? And then boom, the menu, like the chatbot, if he's like intelligent, he spits out tacos right away, and you can just boom, right? So it's like you can talk with or interact with a chatbot like if you interact with a human, which makes a difference because humans are like since millions or let's say hundreds of thousands of years, we interacted between each other with language or with communication, conversational. So that's why our brain accepts that kind of interaction so nicely.
Totally. I think that conversational marketing is totally the thing that is going to continue to take over. I've seen it take over. I'm sharing out our little stream going on right now. A couple of my communities here, and get some more people in there. Maybe we'll get some questions. I hope you don't mind answering some questions if we do get some. I think that
happy to answer questions and help people.
Totally, and you're great at that. And I think that that's really, at the end of the day, what we're really doing for businesses out there. We're solving a problem with a barrier from the business owner or business manager. We're solving the barrier in between them and their customer, and in this case, it's a digital barrier. And I don't think there's a better or more natural or even more quality way of solving human issues with the human language. And, that brings me to the next point I'm going to make. And I think I'm going to go with this: languages. It's important to realize outside of whatever bubble you're living in, wherever you are watching this show. And I think that we will have people from all over the world watch this show in our community, around 100,000, bot builders out there. They're all over the world. And if you get stuck in your little bubble and think that only your language matters, I think that you're setting yourself up for failure. And I think you would have to agree, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for bringing up that multi-language struggle, because I'm actually a German living in France, but I see that the biggest market for chatbots, obviously chat marketing right now, is still in the US. So I really which language actually I create my templates. And then I was a little bit active in the German community. I was like obviously attracting some French people. So so I created all my chatbots in one language. And then I had the issue that German clients and French clients approached me. And so it was really like a struggle, because in the platform that I'm using for the moment, ManyChat doesn't allow like multi-language. So there's no multi-language capability built in there. So that was a point, really a pain point where I was at. And at some point, I remember very, very clearly that was really like a blow, like a total blown my mind when we talked about, and you shared about another platform. Right? I don't know if you want to mention the name or not, but anyways, that had multi-language built in right away. So, and you messaged me. In fact, I just played around with the chatbot a little bit, and he was talking French with me. And I was thinking, wow, how do you know French? How Ryan can create a French chatbot?
I totally remember that. That was such a, that's one of those, during those weeks where I think you and I were both just grinding it out, working day and night, figuring this stuff out, trying to be, the first to do this and the first to do that. And I remember sending you this once I found out about this new tool I was using. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Check this out. And I was showing you a feature, and you hit me back with, how did you translate your chatbot to talk to me in this language? I'm like, basically, right? I just cool.
I was totally blown away. And I was like, at the point of like, either I quit the platform that I am right now, in order to have this feature, or like what can I do?
Right.
What can I do?
Fix it. Right. That's exactly what you did.
Fix it. Exactly. I decided to fix it because that's what entrepreneurs are, right? We saw it's exactly as you saw before. You see problems and then you create a solution. So that's when I figured out got motivated to figure out how to get this multi-language thing to work. And that was like a couple of months that I played around with all kind of like issues that you can tap into that you have no idea that they could exist unless you start building something like this. So, but at some point now, I'm quite confident. I'm actually now at the point where I have like customers coming and they have like one bot in Spanish, one bot in English. Like they have a lot of work to manage them both, like make updates in both. So right now I just say, hey, let me just harmonize your bot. You have just one bot who speaks in both languages with your customers, and they are very happy with that. They really see so much more efficiency. Like if they do an update on one, like it's done on both of them. If they fix a bug, it's like fixed everywhere. They don't have to worry about like different installations for different clients and what kind of languages. So, or even like have the same bot twice just to have the user being able to install on the same page, right? To be able to speak multiple languages. So, and you guys, if you are watching this, if you're international users, I guess you can understand these struggles. That I can actually create an article, a Medium article, like on the platform medium.com. It's a free article. You can just read it, where I share like the basic part of the manual part. There's also an automatic part using Google Auto Translation. So basically, even if I wanted to, I can like I have a client where the customer spoke Chinese. I have no idea what they spoke, obviously, but they interacted in Chinese with the bot and it worked nicely. So having that said, it's also possible to have it all automatically translated. You Google Auto Translate, and that's another thing. That's more complicated to explain. So yeah.
Totally. So let's see if we can show. We got one comment there from Chantel. She is a bot boss lady. Thanks for joining us. And as more people join, we will, totally be sure to answer any questions that that you guys have. I think that an important topic here, since we're talking about marketing and in general, chatbots for sure are the future. The present and future, for sure, in my opinion, when done correctly. But omni-channel marketing, I think, is actually, it should be the goal for the business owner. And whether you can find someone that can offer all of the omni-channel marketing services that you need to be a part of, maybe you can. Maybe your agency's doing that. But what I've found is if you're asking for so much, it'll be expensive in general. And that's part of the reason why I developed Tap the Table, to kind of, help out at scale those businesses that can't afford someone that's $800 to $1,000 plus a month reoccurring, and you have to make sure that they're going to be getting a return. And, during this time, man, I can tell you, I've struggled personally all year. I was like a roller coaster. Like 1 month, it was just great. I could make, maybe great money, more than I'd ever made. And then the next month lose, X clients, and like, oh man, now how do I pay the bills? Luckily, it never got that bad, but it was scary. And so I think that being so invested in a handful of clients out there, for me, it makes more sense to spread it out as far as I can, but I love your style of educating the builder, educating the consumer. I'm sure your onboarding process is killer. What do you think, in your opinion, from the two big developments you've came across or developed or helped develop, what do you find that your clients love most about the products that you offer?
Well, the product that I offer, I'm searching the most simple solution, but it's still awesome if you want. So meaning that I don't try to, I try to which is like not complicated and doesn't need a lot of stuff. Only the stuff that's really necessary to make it work. but at the same time, like the most nice user experience for the user, but also for the one operating the chatbot. So,
Right.
so because obviously you can make things so complicated that nobody can actually operate the chatbot anymore,
Totally.
right?
That brings me to a great point, man, because I have to say it was probably one of the biggest highlights of the year for me. I don't know if you know what I'm going to say, but I got to be a part of Kelly's podcast from Baby Got Bot, and she is the official trainer over there at ManyChat, and she has been my bot hero for for years, I guess, at this point. I don't even remember when I really got my first ManyChat account. I think it was either 2017 or 2018, but it was so cool to me. But back then, I think the platform itself was limited. I think it's far more powerful today than it was back then, obviously. There wasn't as much you could do with it, I don't think, as you could now. Or maybe they made it easier for people like me. But she taught me everything from the beginning. So I got to shout her out. She is the ManyChat bot queen. And I think that you're using ManyChat. Are you going to be a part of their new app system? That's a great thing to know. Is it? Cause I know they released some sort of app network, right? That my friend VG Wicker, he's a part of. Vince, what's up, Vince? If you see this, hope you see this. What's up, dude? That could be cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see myself as a coder, so I'm more like using stuff other people have coded, right? So I'm not. I know like how to connect systems, but if it comes really to create code, that's beyond my skill level, or others are doing that better. So if you talk about apps, I will be more like a user of apps. I won't be somebody who creates those apps. And yeah, of course, apps are an amazing way to like add a whole, and potentially unlimited amount of functionality from a community. That's what made Shopify so great, because
Right.
they just opened the marketplace where everybody can like build like apps and like sell them, right? So basically, that opens the really the doors for everybody who has an idea and skill to create a solution and offer anybody. So that's, I think, the smartest move they actually could do, because that really makes them break these limitations of their team, their ideas, their speed, and now adds like the whole world can now be developed and enhance a tool, which is amazing.
I think you nailed it. I think the fact that this year alone I've seen my group of friends, including yourself, have become so much more diverse, meaning outside of the country of the United States, where in general, my entire life, most of my friends have been in the States, and like in the neighborhood or the county that I'm in, or the school I went to, or the place that I worked. And now, because I've been digital for so long and so focused this year in this industry, everyone that I'm like super close with seems to be from out of the United States, and it's really brought me closer to some people that I probably have never talked to or met before, and it's been really, really cool. And really, the coolest part for me this year has been to see a solution be developed due to a problem that solves that problem and then generates a ton of money for the client, because then they're like, you're their hero, and everyone likes to be a hero. And that's what this kind of stuff's enabled me to at least feel like in some cases. And you've been a hero to me in some cases. So again, I want to shout you out, and I appreciate you for everything you do, man. I think this has been fun so far. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, it's like it's really fun, because I remember like when I was working for global companies, like as a project manager, we were discussing ideas. We were making big like graphics, how everything should work. And then I was out. I couldn't do anything because I wasn't like the developer. I was not the technical person. So now,
you're pretty technical to me, man. You're far more technical than I am.
I have become now in the last years, like kind of technical. And now the cool thing now is I can have an idea and I can just build it myself.
Yep.
I'm not dependent on anything. It's just with these visual flow builders, like those who see this podcast, they never have like seen how a chatbot is actually built. today those platforms have visual flow builders. So basically, you write a little text in a box saying, okay, this is what the chatbot is saying. Then you have little buttons. You place those buttons yourself, like drag and drop there, and then say, okay, this button is written learn more, and this button is register for whatever, register, and then you link these buttons directly to another box where, in fact, if the person had clicked this button, then it goes that way. So it's a visual thing. So you can actually really create your own products, your own software, or your solution for the business without knowing coding. You don't even ever touch a line of code like myself, right? Even so, I have started to somehow touch code, but I'm not coding, as I say, just touching it. But saying really these limitations for creating solutions and for businesses are really going away with chatbots. That's really and that's kind of fun. That excites me. I have really fun building bots because you can also drop in some funny images, have some fun, make some jokes in between, right? It's conversation.
Brand, baby. Brand. Yeah, totally. Everything that gets you excited has been getting me just fired up all year because of the exact same reasons. And I think that, and I put it on the screen here, there is a new world of, I guess the term here is no code. There's a new world of no code. And if you don't know what that acronym is at the bottom there, do you know what that is, by the way? Do you know what that stands for?
Well, I guess no coding, but if there's a specific meaning, I actually don't know.
So it stands for what you see is what you get. And I think the first experience I had with what you see is what you get no code editor was more than 10 years ago, and it was Wix. So I think that for me started off, I was like, wait a minute. So I spent all this time learning front page and learning how to do the basic of the basic coding that Microsoft kind of even built in for you. I spent all this time learning front page and reading a few books on HTML to just being able to drag and drop stuff. Get out of town. And so that to me was like my version of video games for a while, and that was automating the process of coding. And so while hashtag no code wasn't really a thing back then, I surely think that it's not even up for debate that there's more no coding applications out there than ever before, which in my opinion is great because it does allow someone that doesn't know enough code to do anything, do literally anything they want. I think that's so awesome. Now, to a point, you're still always going to have awesome coders. I know some pretty amazing ones myself. Shout out to Say, first of all, that guy I think is the best of the best that I've ever met. Say Fernandez, what's up, dude? Hope you're watching. But there's always going to be someone better. Even when you are the best, eventually you're going to get knocked off your pedestal. So I think that leveling the playing field is the best thing that can be done. And then it allows the creative type versus just the nerd who loves code to have a chance to succeed.
Yeah, and what is so nice about this no code thing is that it opens up basically the solutions for everybody. So if we look at Tap the Table, for example, as a restaurant owner, I wouldn't need to understand anything. I just go in, I just put my menu in, and it's just run.
Yep.
Right. I probably want to more information, and that's it. So without as a business, so basically it means I as a business owner, the only thing that I really need to understand is my business.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can go in and just automate some parts of my business, be it a reservation, be it an order, be it a coupon or whatever, and that's what it's all about, right? Really making it as easy as possible for everybody.
Easy and as effective as possible. I don't even know if I finished that thought. I was sitting so hyped talking about Kelly, but on her show, I think I made the statement. I said something like, I build basic bots that solve big problems. And I think that's really the issue that we have to really continue to look at is what problems are we solving? Now we can choose to solve the problems that we want to choose to. Some are more profitable than others. Some are more beneficial than others, right? Would you say it's fair to say that restaurants are your niche?
Yeah, absolutely. So we created Resto Chat. Obviously, which comes already with the name and the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's but I actually figure out that these solutions that I'm building are really usable for a lot of other niches. Like that's why I'm like starting to talk more about local businesses and less about actually restaurants. But the restaurant is a local business, so absolutely what we have built is all like 100% for restaurants, and most of it can be used for all kind of other stuff. For example, like the birthday campaign that we just created.
Oh yeah, definitely talk on that. I know that's a big one in the mini chat world, especially.
Yeah. So it's like it's a like a campaign we just launched. I actually looked at somebody who was already crushing it with the campaign, and I remodeled the first part because he was sharing it everything openly. And this was a guy who was already like doing like 14,000 with the restaurant, like just one restaurant with that campaign, but just with the first part. Then when I had this, then I thought, well, okay, cool. Now the person has his coupon. So what next? What's the next step in the process, right? From the user experience, and what could be beneficial for the restaurant. And then I thought, well, cool. Obviously now the person has his coupon, so the next logical step would be to make a reservation to celebrate the birthday party, right? So why not automate this part? It's so easy. Actually, I had this built out already, so I just connected it. So then, once I had the reservation, if you can share the image that I sent you earlier,
totally.
That's
up there right now.
That now becomes really an amazing, like viral, like idea that I got, because imagine, well, good. So imagine now you can create something like this. Because basically what you have, you have like all the restaurants data, right? The address and the name. Then obviously you can say, yeah, it's a birthday party. And then you have the name of the person with you celebrating the birthday. You have the date, the hour, because he just made a reservation. So you have all these information together. And now basically what we created is like an image which you can send to your friends. So there's little share icon on the this one over here, and if you click there, you can send it via messenger to your friends. So you're bypassing a chatbot. It's not a chatbot anymore. I'm sending it to you with my personal to personal connection. So that's creating a viral element that it's out of control, because it's I want to say it's like it's not like it's if I want to celebrate my birthday with 20 people, well, unless I'm in a country where there are restrictions for restaurant groups right now due to the pandemic, that can be the case. But if there are no restrictions, I can send it to 20 friends, right? And then all of them have the chance to click the button below, which is like claim my gift, right? And if they click the button, they will subscribe to the chatbot. So that's really like a boom, like a viral effect, which basically what you do, you create an ad like for one person, and you can have 5 subscribers from just one ad, from just one person who actually joined the bot, and all of them you get the data of all of them. They all get their coupon, and afterwards, all those like 4 guests who came also will be also like asked, hey, do you want to celebrate your birthday also with us? So basically, it can become an endless thing just from one subscriber. So that's what's
and that's called virality, if I'm not mistaken. That's like the true internet term for that. I don't know. I'll tell you my favorite thing, and all in general, I think some people would be surprised at how many people that say they're in automation or building chatbots, whatever. Not all builders are the same, right? Some obviously have done more homework and have more experience than others. One of my favorite things about automation and Messenger for specific examples here is once you used that money to acquire that customer from a Facebook ad, I don't think there's any reason you should ever have to spend an ad dollar on someone again that you've gotten in the first place. If you had to do that, you must have done something wrong, once the customer's gotten into your marketing funnel. Because to me, it looks something like this. Run your Facebook ad, great. Get people to engage with the content by commenting. Use the comment tool, right? From the comment tool, the DM occurs. If they want the thing that you're offering, if what you're sending them a message about is enticing enough, I think you fail as a marketer if you don't have enough conversation with that customer to achieve collecting their phone number for SMS marketing and email. And because of that, you can go direct to the source, cut out the middleman of Facebook ads. Sorry, Facebook, love you, but I'm going to hook you up in Messenger, right? I think that at the end of the day, paying for the same Facebook customer over and over and over, completely over. I think that's one of the main benefits of chatbots and Messenger. I think that value alone is immense and not talked about enough. And if you're still paying dollars to reach that person, you're failing. Like they're in the database, guys. That's the whole point. And it's a hard thing for people to understand that aren't in marketing. They're running a t-shirt shop. They're running a bakery. They don't know what chatbots are. I rarely even use that word. Do you, when you sell your clients, are you selling them on a chatbot, or do you talk about a solution? Do you think that words matter in that case?
Yeah, of course. It's you need to show results. You need to show them how their life will be easier. You need to show. I mean, first of all, you have to listen. First of all, you listen what the problem is, and then you talk only about the solution for that problem, nothing else. And then they were already excited. Once they see, okay, yeah, your problem could be really, your solution could be really working for them, then basically already normally they bring up pricing. So it's not about like, even if your chatbot can do that much, right? The point is to understand what's the key problem that the customer needs solved, and then you just talk about that little thing that your customer looks at, because also just be too much in his head. You will basically, if you talk about all the rest, he will be forgetting that you have a solution for his problem. He will be seeing a lot of problems that you actually create in order to sell him something. He will be feeling like, oh, there's somebody who sells me something. There's not somebody who is giving me a solution for my problem, so I will stay away.
Well, I tell you what, I think that is about as value. That's bringing as much value as I've seen someone in our industry bring. Aside from Kelly, I'll drop it here. I think McKinsey's probably one. I forget her last name, but the name of her company. I know that she's done a lot of things with ManyChat. McKinsey, she's done a lot of things, and Kelly, and publicly, like, giving out things, right? Giving out valuable knowledge, information. You for sure help anyone that's asking questions in the ManyChat group that I see, or the Bot Sheets group. Shout out Michael from Bot Sheets, by the way. That dude's helped me out so many times. That guy's super genius. I love Michael. But I don't think that there are enough people in the chat space that go a little bit out of their way to provide value to their communities, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think that there's this big problem in the community as a whole that is basically like, okay, I've got this nugget of knowledge, and I'm not sharing it with nobody, and it's all mine. Proprietary language, proprietary this, it's all mine. And at the end of the day, it's a conversation. This isn't like other things out there that you can, maybe protect better, I guess is a word. Like, I hate to say it like that, but I believe that there is plenty of room for community-minded people versus such competitive-minded people. Because at the end of the day, it's a small world, and it is a small industry. There's less than 100,000 people, period, in the world that do this full time, period. And so because of that, like, I understand the need to want to keep your stuff tight and close, but at the same time, I think that it's a mistake to not provide value. And so I'm going to make a point to, as often as I can, be like AJ here and provide value to as many people as I can. And I want to thank you again for everything that you've helped me with. I think we might actually have a surprise guest joining us here in a second. I've got Mr. Leon Lewis Walker looking to come through. I sent him the link. We'll see if he can make it through. I hope he does, because he is a top ranked social media and digital marketing consultant that I actually had scheduled on the first preliminary episode of the ChatBot Podcast. And actually, it was with him I found out that the chatbotpodcast.com was available. So as we were talking on the podcast and he was just dropping knowledge all over the place, I was like, oh my God, I'll bet you that domain's not taken. And so like while we were talking, got on Google Domains, bought the chatbotpodcast.com and the chatbotshow.com. I got a bunch of other chatbot related domains, but like that's a big one. I was like, are you serious? How's no one bought that? And it looks like Mr. Leon is joining us. So great. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. AJ, I'll tell you what, man, you have been phenomenal. I appreciate everything. I got the link in the comments. Be sure if you can to share this video with whoever you like, and they'll be able to see all we've said and that link. I hope you'll be a guest on the show again soon.
Sure.
You're the man. I'll get you later. So I'm going to pop him out of here, right? Got a couple viewers out there, I think. And we are going to bring on a surprise guest, Mr. Leon Lewis Walker, digital marketing consultant out of London, from way across the pond.
Excellent. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here on the show. Just love what you're doing. Shout out to Adjunga. Beautiful session there. Shout out to Ryan.
You know him as well. Great.
Yeah. So it's great to see a lot of love in the community, amongst marketers, bot builders. That's what it's all about.
You nailed it. Now, guys, anyone watching this now or later, I love this guy. I'm all about positivity. As one of my favorite things to say is corny. I'm super corny. One of my favorite things to say is positivity is never negative. So like I go out of my way to try to be positive even on the worst days. And you, my friend, whether you know it or not, I'm a comment junkie, and I read comments, and whether you're talking to me or not, you're so positive, and it makes me feel so good to have that energy, around me. And it makes me go from going to having this is a bad day or what, to I'm going to be positive and put it on someone else, like pass it on. So thank you for that. And I think that your energy is viral in itself, my friend. And guys, just to let you know, I'm going to put the screen right on me. Leon was my very first guest, actually. And while learning this live streaming software, Restream.io is what I'm using. Thanks again to Stephanie Liu for hooking it up. I think I failed like 65,000 times. I think that number increased from the last time I said it earlier in the show, like 14,000 or 15,000. I love big numbers. But I think I got a hang of it now. But this, guys, I got to apologize, especially to the Sylph community. I think our original show might be gone. But we promise this one's going to be so much better. And I think that what he has to say to you guys and the knowledge that he's going to bring to you is actually immense. This guy is one of the most prepared people I think I've ever spoken with. But at this point, while I pull up your questions that you sent over, Liam, why don't you just tell anyone who's watching now or later a little bit about yourself and what you do, man?
So, as you know, some of you may know me from the different communities. I like to mix between communities. I don't assign myself necessarily to one specific platform or community, because I think there's so much value and there's so much we can bring to each other, as people, as individuals. And we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to, get ahead in life. We're either trying to start a business and we're all trying to help a business. So it makes sense just to help each other move forward, on this path, on this journey that we're walking at the moment. And, we need to support each other in these. 6 months ago, life for all of us, I could say that literally was very different to what we know it now. And I think everybody's just slowly trying to find their feet again, trying to find their hands again, getting back to reality, or, what they think is reality. So yeah, it makes sense for me personally just to, give as much as I can to someone else, because you never know what they're going through. And the little bit of information I have that I may have obtained from someone else may help a different person, and so forth. And I think as we just keep spreading and sharing, and that's why I love doing this type of work, working in the digital marketing space, because you're talking with people, you're consulting with people, but you're also serving a purpose and you're helping people that are helping people. And it's just like a rippled effect.
1,000%, man. You're so eloquent. I think everyone from the London, UK area, they're just so much more eloquent than the majority of Americans, especially the country ones like me from down south. I'll give a special shout out to Rupert, who is doing his thing out near you or somewhere out there in the UK.
Oh, yeah. Rupert Samuel, great legend.
Yep. Yeah. Great legend, right? And Kelly gave him a shout out on her podcast. She continually gives him shout outs, and well deserved. So the guy's doing some big things across the pond for sure. I tell you what, you explained everything so well, and I couldn't agree with you more. I want to just quiz you, because not all message marketers are the same. Just like not all clients are good clients. Some clients are crappy clients. Let's be honest with you. Like, just because they have money doesn't mean that you have to do whatever they want. Like, you can fire a client sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But not all message marketers are the same. And I think that the social media industry is getting stained right now with inauthentic gurus and people that think they know what they're doing and literally have no clue. So I have a little quiz here. I'm going to run some questions by you, and we'll see what you got. Does that sound cool? Put you on the spot?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah.
Cool. So Leon Lewis Walker, all the way from across the pond, London. Leon, how many monthly users are using Facebook Messenger currently?
I'd say about 85% of the users are on Facebook Messenger. So as you know, and some of the listeners may know, some may not know, Facebook actually owns Facebook itself as a platform. Then they own the Facebook Messenger, they own the WhatsApp application, they own Instagram. So Facebook is their primary source, but it's the messaging apps which are actually starting to take over, with Messenger being, I'd say, pretty much one of the most downloaded apps on a global scale, which I think that alone speaks for itself.
Totally. I think, again, you couldn't have said it any better. All right, here's another one. What would you say? Actually, this is more of an easy one. But what's the most downloaded app of all time?
I would say most downloaded app of all time now is got to be Facebook, with Messenger. Yeah, not so far behind. And then I think Instagram, Snapchat fall somewhere behind there. But yeah, Facebook is pretty much like the household app. And from that, their baby, which is Messenger. And actually, Messenger itself is outperforming Facebook. It's been doing so for about 5 years. I think the Facebook sort of algorithm around 2015 was at a low, and it hasn't really, peaked to where it was before. And the Messenger app and their other apps are starting to creep up. So who knows what the future is going to hold for apps in general in terms of messaging.
Totally agree. Now, you brought up a really good point with the algorithm, and how did you put it exactly? The algorithm fell. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So I think there was a decline about 5 years ago. And that Facebook
when you say a decline, do you mean you mean specifically in like organic reach, maybe, right?
So yeah, organic reach and usability. Whereas ever since that point, the Messenger application has been sort of leveling it and then almost topping it. And so
I think that's a great point, and I'm going to break it down a little bit further. The algorithm itself, right? The mystical algorithm. I've never truly worried about it, because if you listen really what Facebook says, it's all about the content. If the content is good, it's going to get shared. It's going to do its thing. It's going to accomplish the goal. Instead of looking at it as the algorithm has decreased my reach, what I think, I'm trying to always constantly, constantly put myself in other people's, or in this case, other businesses' shoes. So what I think that Facebook is doing is, I think that they're trying to, and they have been since they introduced said algorithm, push the marketing force that are people like you and I, and big brands as well. Obviously, they're a huge share of the market for Facebook advertising. I think they're trying to push as far as they can. How much money can we get out of these guys? But at the same time, ensure this is such a good investment for them, they don't leave our platform and go somewhere else. That is what I think really that they're doing, and it's so smart because they're sacrificing quite a bit, by giving away so much and doing so much for free. But they also understand how powerful of a tool they have. And they're like, okay, well, if we increase the price this much, is it still valuable enough for someone like Ryan and Leon? They're going to get pumped when they're talking about this return on their ad spend for this campaign or something like that, right? That's kind of where my mind goes. I just feel like Facebook is probably one of the smartest businesses in the world as far as its business structure and strategy. And while they're not perfect by any means, and I don't agree with a lot of things that Facebook does, and we won't get into that, I think that their business strategy is right on point, super duper smart. And while I can say that back in like 2010, $5 feels like $500 today, because I was so early on, advertising, even out of my own pockets for businesses that I worked for, which is a strange thing to do, but it allowed me to do a lot of different things. I think that is still fair enough. I'm not going to complain too much about the algorithm. I think that people like you and me can beat it, per se.
Oh, definitely. And I think what Facebook appear to do is they do their marketing, I could say, on reverse. So they have the end in mind. So as you just stated there,
yes.
It's not like a random framework that they have. They pretty much have it like mapped out, probably 3 or 4 years ahead of time, and they're sort of working from there, working backwards. So for us, it's not everybody will notice the changes until they're pretty much implemented. So a lot of the time, companies like that have to have these strategic ways of operating, and that's what makes them successful.
Totally. All right. So I got some more questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
How many chatbots are there actively on Messenger? Now, that's something that I think is an extremely interesting fact, and I think you know the answer to that one.
Yes. So I would say actively on Messenger, this is probably around, I'd say probably on the monthly basis. Mm-hmm. At least we are looking at about 500,000.
Looking at the number right now, you're on it. You're on it.
So about 500,000. But what we've got to recognize is some of these chatbots that are active. It could be like one individual person that owns, 3 or 4 of them. So sometimes people are like testing the chatbots. Some are experimenting. Some they've set up but they haven't actually used. Some are, for businesses. Some are made by marketers. So not every single one is built in the way that, yourself or Adjunga or, like a digital marketer or bot creator would make them. Mm-hmm. So when you reduce the numbers again, I think it's actually less, which then suggests that there's more leverage and there's more opportunity for people watching this right now that are considering getting into messenger marketing, considering bot building, learning more, or businesses that are not actually utilizing that platform to take this opportunity and jump in.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think at this point, it's just insane to me that some businesses just wouldn't even consider something like an employee that never takes a day off, is never late, always consistent, does what you tell it to do, doesn't fail, unless something catastrophic happens. In general, these things just don't fail. That's the whole point. And when we can understand, and this is one of the things I think we hit on briefly yesterday. We had such a good conversation yesterday. It was so much fun. I think in my life, the first automation that I can recall was the answering machine, right? Yeah. And for the young builders out there on MiniChat and Silver, and none of those folks are using my platform to at the table. And my platform is for the older, more mature people, I think, or the people that don't have time for this. The people that are out there playing around with automation, I think it's an awesome thing to be doing. I think that we have to ensure that we have to ensure that we are always providing the best value to our customers and our clients, and you're going to be a winner. This is the market to be in. And I think that because I've had 2 different guests from around the world, I've shown that this stuff's powerful. There's about 100,000 builders, I think, out there that are active on certain platforms building things. And like you mentioned, they might have, I think I've got like 100 accounts across different platforms, ManyChat, Silver, and my own. And so I'm counted in that number, but not all of them are active. I think that we're onto something here. And I think that if we keep going, we're going to make a real big impact.
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. And just what you said about the answering machine service, a lot of people, the younger generation are not so familiar with that. They may know the voicemails, but even in regards to regards to automation and businesses that have been implementing automation, I think the concept is still there, but the way that we automate businesses now has changed. So previously it would have been, definitely, phone calls, automated, press 1 for this option, press 2, press 3, press hash to go back. And I think what people didn't like about that type of automation, there was no connection. You was talking to an automated voice, a programmed voice, which didn't really sound authentic. Now, I suppose the technology is a lot more advanced. But that was something which, although businesses implemented it, it wasn't the best thing for the business. But in hindsight, it's what we had at the time. Obviously now,
and it accomplished the goal.
Yeah, it accomplished the goal, and that's the main thing. So I say, with whatever tools that we have, regardless of the platform, we've got to say, well, what's the goal? Because that's what's the goal, and what are the results that you're trying to generate? I think if you can, zoom everything down to a fine point and understand that, that's the basic of anything. It's going from A to B or from A to Z. I think that's where the success lies. So it's not me versus this bot builder, or me versus that bot builder, or this platform versus that platform. It's what's the overall goal? How do I feel using these particular tools? And, with a little imagination and creativity, we can bring something to the table.
I think that you need. Have you written a book yet? You need to
not yet,
write
but
a book.
It's on my list. In the book, I will mention about the accidental baptism, but that's for the book.
Oh, I like that. That's got me intrigued. Speaking of accidental baptism, I know a lot of people totally in like this space, in the YouTube space or the creator space, whatever, totally don't talk about this sort of thing. I'm totally pumped about getting baptized this Saturday, or excuse me, this Sunday, this weekend.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy Stephen Bell, who definitely won't be watching this. He's actually got a really high up job in a church I go to. Not interested in bots and automation, which I don't blame him. To the untrained eye, his boring stuff, but super pumped for that. And I've got a special gift I'm going to be giving my church, and really any church out there that would like this. I'd be happy to provide them. And I hope I can pronounce the name right. I think it's Deepak from one of the groups I'm in. He created a Bible bot, and it sends out a Bible verse every single day to those that opt in. And I think that is so cool. I've wanted to build something like that forever. I've basically got it done now, and I want to launch that sucker. So I think that's going to be really, really special. The things that you can do, and I'm going to zoom in right here on myself. The things you can do with this technology are absurd. The options and the way that you can achieve different goals are absolutely endless, from business to even automating certain things for your own personal brand. I think this is extremely valuable, especially with the integration tools that are available out there now. You can integrate your chatbot for your personal brand and your business to a system of Google products like Google Sheets. One of, me and AJ talked about it earlier. One of the things I'm loving right now is a platform called App Sheets. It's something like a Glide app, if you're familiar with that, except it's a version that's been just bought by Google themselves. So, they're going to juice it up, I would assume. And the no code, I'm going to see if I can find that little caption here. The no code world is absolutely absurd. It really levels the playing field. And I think that it levels up any sort of automations you've got into play. Do you currently use any sort of no code tool outside of something like a Sulfur or a ManyChat?
Oh yeah, so if I'm doing anything like a website, when I started doing online, marketing in about 2013, I was preliminarily focused on websites, and at that point, I think Wix, they weren't quite available, but they were just sort of on the uprising. But so pretty much you had to learn a bit of like HTML, some very basic code, maybe a bit of basic Java stuff. And although I was getting the hang of it, slowly they started to implement these like one tool solution where you could have a website, no code, just drag and drop, put everything in place. And that, for a lot of people that were trying to do web design, had almost put them off, because now being advertised, people could just go to GoDaddy site, their own website, do it themselves, and you say, oh well, they need me. I'm like a Trump developer, and now they can just drag and drop and get a website up in 30 minutes, or
totally,
or less. Or I think people that was trying to pitch their services at that time, it became difficult. Before that, you could charge anything from $800 to $5,000 or more for a custom built website. And then when that came, it changed the game. And I think we noticed this tends to happen throughout digital history. Something comes along and it just changes the game. But I think the best thing that we can do is say, okay, we just have to adapt and we have to change with the game, because they say, although you may be on the right track, if you just sit there, you'll get knocked off. So you just have to keep progressing and progressing, changing and adapting. Be like the crocodile, out in the wild that sits still, waiting for the moment, and then, all of a sudden just come out and pounce.
Right.
So it's, I think that's the only way that we can grow, is just by keep learning, keep adapting. And I'll try any tool. I try not to limit myself and say, oh, I'm just going to use this tool or just going to use that tool. I know a lot of people that love Apple products, and they're a fantastic company. And I could mention something about, well, look, with this Samsung product, you can have this, and you can take the cover off and change the battery. And oh, no. And they won't steer away from Apple. But sometimes, just when they try something different, they find it's actually more beneficial for what they're trying to do. So I think the best thing we can do is just keep experimenting, keep finding, different tools. Just have a big toolbox of things that you can call on, for anything. And what I like to do is I'll have one project which I say, okay, this is suited for that tool, this project is suited for that tool, and this project, you can use whatever tool, it doesn't matter. So
100%. I love that. And I think that you should try something different. And I have a slight variation on that. It kind of means the same thing. It's, if you're not learning, you're losing. And I think that you have to always keep it going. And I totally feel what you're saying about the website guys being out there probably in shock when they're seeing things like a Wix and a Squarespace, and they're seeing WordPress become so much easier than what it was. I've probably built around 50, 60 websites professionally in the past 10 years. And I don't know if that's considered a lot or a little. I know that my price point was probably way lower than the average outfit, and that probably irritated the crap out of those folks, especially when a lot of times they're hard coding things and I'm dragging and dropping, and mine's way better, and I'm done in a couple days, and they're done in a couple months. I think we just saw this, and I'm not going to say anything about this automation because potentially the person that made it is on my Facebook list, and I don't want to make anyone cry or upset. But I think the bot I'm talking about. I mean, all automation is not the same, and I think it sucks that bad builders or non-builders can actually get an opportunity to work with a company like the one that I pointed out and just totally destroy it in a bad way so because I can't talk about it, do you want to just mention anything about what I showed a couple of prominent building groups out there? I mean, what were your thoughts when you first dealt with that?
Oh yeah, it's definitely shocking to see, but it's one of those things that we see it in many things, many industries. There's an opportunity somebody gets, and it's a golden opportunity, and we say, oh, if that was me, I could bring this or I could bring that to the opportunity, and this person hasn't done that or they haven't used that. And I think a lot of the times that's the hardest thing, because either party may not have been in the know, either party may not have known any better, so they just said, okay, this is the information that we have, bring this together and let's hope for a result. As we've seen the result, it's not the result that we would have anticipated, but it's the result that they have. They can't undo it, but all they can do from now is improve it. But what I like is, our ability and your ability to recognize these things and notice these things and just talk about them, and get it out there, because there's no point saying, well, I'm not going to talk about it, I'll keep it quiet, because when we keep it quiet and we don't talk about it, then we don't actually grow. And I think some of the biggest companies on the planet, let's say Apple, for example, they had the generation of the iPhone, the first generation. Well, it's better now because people are talking about it enough, people are complaining about it enough in generation 1 that Apple said, okay, we have a big fan base, but we can't just sit here with version 1. We're going to have to up the game and improve, because if we don't, somebody else is going to come, across, for example, Samsung, and do a better job. So having that information and knowing that nothing's perfect keeps you sort of on the edge, keeps you coming back, keeps you creating, keeps you pushing forward, so you don't become stagnant. I think you was talking with AJ, Adjunga, referring to sort of mastering things and stuff like that. And I personally try not to use the word master, just because then for me, it sets a limitation. It says, okay, well, if now I'm a messenger master, that for me suggests that I can no longer take any more information because I know it all. So I said, well, I'm just like a student of this digital experience, or a student of life. So then it allows me just to keep on growing, because when you keep on growing, you keep on flowing. When you keep on flowing, you can keep on knowing and keep on going.
I love that, man. You had to have practiced that. You had to have practiced that one. There's no way that just flowed, man. That was great. You're a natural marketer, man.
No,
well,
and let me just say one
thing.
Yeah,
no, please. You're dropping the bombs right now. And let me go ahead and tell you really quick, you're way too nice, because that bot sucked. That bot literally was one of the worst I've seen, and I guarantee you, for the vast majority of people that saw that, it's the most expensive automation messenger bot ever. I mean, it blows my mind. And the reason for this is they're not using the builder. They're not using ManyChat. They're not using Silver. They're not using Chatfuel. They're not using Mobile Monkey. They're definitely using Tap the Table. So they're hard coding it. And again, people that are good at what they're good at. Relationships are made, and they hang on by value, right? So even if this is the biggest chatbot marketing fail of all time in a Fortune 500 company, at the same time, what was great? The photography.
Yeah,
I know the photographer too. And I think that the photography is great. I think that the overall brand is great. I think the product's crappy and cheap wine. I wouldn't drink it, but I just said it. But either way, I digress. I'm not going to say the brand name. I'm not going to do that. But go ahead and keep dropping that fire, man. You're killing it.
Yeah, I mean that project. Yeah, as you said, it may not have been the best, but what I think in years to come, or even weeks to come, it will make a perfect case study. For anybody that's already experienced in this world, or anyone that's coming into this sort of digital space, that's going to be an example of a case study, because I think you have a good idea if somebody can learn from that. If they say, oh yeah, this is great, you say, okay, right, you need a bit more training. Or if they're able to sort of pick out what doesn't work and why it doesn't work, for them it's going to help them to become a better builder, a better marketer. And then as a result, they're going to bring much more value to whatever company they apply those results to, be it that company or be it another company. I challenge somebody watching this now to approach that company with an example of what it should have been and say, look, no strings attached, I'll just give you this for free. It's similar to a strategy that we used to implement. For example, when you have these big Fortune 500 companies and you just like approach them as like this, this solo guy that wants to build, a chatbot. What can happen sometimes is the company will take your bot, steal it, and like not give you the job, and have somebody from their own internal team to do it. So one strategy which could be useful for people to implement is give the company an option. They could have like an option to purchase your build, or if they wanted to use their in-house team, then you say, well, if you want to use your in-house team, that's totally fine. What I've devised for you is a training on how to do the bot. So then you can sell the training at a lesser fee. So that way you've got the foot in the door. So you're now the consultant for that digital team who, maybe do web design or photography, but they don't actually understand bots. But because you have the experience in bots and messenger marketing, then you can pitch your service to them in that way. So it's like a two-way system. You either close on the big deal, or if you don't close on the big deal, then you just have like a follow-up deal where you provide value and information, and see what happens.
Totally, man. I'll tell you what, you are just full of fire, bro. You're challenging people to go after huge brands. You're warning them, which, that is something that I find. I'm going to drop something that I never thought I'd ever drop. And I see we got a few viewers out there. If by chance one of these viewers was this guy, I'd be blown away. Met him last year. The name has to ring a bell if you're in digital marketing. Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay. Oh. Gary, one of my heroes forever. Have his book literally somewhere right on my desk. I'm not going to grab it right now. Have his book for sure. Jab, jab, right hook. Taught me more so than any class I could have taken on social media for sure, at least during the time. But I'll tell you one thing he doesn't prepare people for. He just tells you it's going to happen. Is failing. Is that failure when you fail and it's really bad, or do you fail and it's like? Can you still hear me? Okay. Did I lose you? Uh-oh. I think we might have lost Leon.